left. I got Bill Forty, myself, Tim Stimson, Frank Dugan, and Joe Davenport. So we do have a quorum. And looking at the agenda, might as well take from the top. Up first, we have a notice of intent filed for the 229 Union Street, Old English Square, LLC, Mike Mullins. See here. Okay. This is the address.
Yeah.
Okay. Pursuant to the Wetland Protection Act, Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Town of Holbrook Wetland Protection Bylaw, the Holbrook Conservation Commission will hold a public meeting on Monday, November 5th, 2018 at 7:30 p.m. in Holbrook Town Hall, 50 North Franklin Street, Holbrook, Mass. to consider a notice of intent. Description: the project consists of a proposed retail village consisting of commercial buildings, paved access and parking, stormwater management facilities, and associated grading, lawn, and landscaping located in part in the 100-foot buffer zone to a bordering vegetative wetlands. Erosion controls are proposed. Please see the site plans and the site report for additional information. Applicant is Old English Square, LLC, Michael Mullins. Project location, 229 Union Street, Holbrook, Mass. Assessors map 14, parcel 102-00-0. Okay, so that's it done.
Good evening. For the record, my name is Dr. John Rockwood. I'm a Chief Environmental Scientist with Ecotech out of Worcester, Massachusetts. Ecotech was hired to delineate the wetlands in the front portion of the site where this work is proposed. That delineation occurred in June of this year. We're all aware that these wetlands were delineated and a project was previously approved on here. These wetland lines are very similar to what was previously delineated by others and approved. We have an area bordering vegetated wetlands that's associated with a stream. We have the Cattail Marsh located in the center of the site that drains through a culvert across and under. And this road was partially constructed under the prior approved notice of intent. So there's a pocket of wetlands with a culvert across. So we have an area bordering vegetated wetlands in 3 areas of the site. There's a 100-year floodplain that goes through this area as well. It's not shown on this particular plan. That's the blue line. So there's the 100-year floodplain that's associated with the river that's well down there. Okay, so with me tonight is Fred Keeler from HW Moore, the project engineer, Mike Mullins and Sue Wright from the applicant. And we have the green cards. And I'll turn it over to Fred to go through the project with you.
For the record, Fred Keeler from HW Moore. As John mentioned, this project was previously approved by the Commission about 2007, thereabouts. It's very similar to what you approved last time. The only difference is we had a retail building here. It's a larger building now. It's proposed as a self-storage facility. And we had parking where these 2 large green rectangles are. We were proposing parking, and we needed more parking for retail. We don't need as much parking now, so this is less impervious area. It's going to be lawn or landscaping out front. Other than that, these are the 3 proposed buildings on the barn are the same. The existing bowling alley is going to remain, it's going to be renovated. The roadway loop is the same, parking's pretty much the same, a little less over here. In terms of stormwater, we've got the system highlighted in green. Behind the bowling alley, this parking lot will drain down to here. We've got a water quality device that'll discharge to feed this small wetland area that's going to remain. There'll be a culvert that goes underneath the roadway, and it'll work its way out as it does under existing conditions. The bulk of the site from about the roadway westerly will drain to this subsurface infiltration system. That's again similar to what you approved previously. It's a little smaller because we have less impervious surface area than we previously proposed, but it's the same design. Has water quality devices to treat the water before it gets into the infiltration system. We have an outlet control manhole that'll retain the flow of water to pre-existing peak rates of runoff, so we're mitigating the 2, 10, and 100-year storm events. We have a discharge point in the back, and it'll flow out as it does under existing conditions. That essentially is it. It's pretty similar to what you approved before. Again, John mentioned we do have the 100-year floodplain. We're not touching that. There will be some tree mitigation that's proposed. We do have to take down some trees over in here, a little bit to build the roadway and the parking behind the bowling alley. Those will be mitigated in accordance with your bylaw. I think that summarizes essentially what we're proposing, and we're here to answer any questions you might have.
So this is a limited project then? It's not, you're not doing the retail, I mean the residential?
The residential is still proposed. It showed out a function in the back.
Yeah.
Just on, for this particular notice.
For this
of
project,
intent.
you're not doing that?
No, just the front end right here.
I see.
There'll be a subsequent notice of intent that gets filed later when that goes forward.
Okay. So a new delineated wetland, did it vary much from your wetland line before? Did you find that it was significantly bigger or smaller?
It was actually very similar. In some places
Right,
it
so
was
it didn't
slightly
migrate?
higher.
Yeah.
It didn't migrate
Yeah.
significantly. It's a little higher in a couple places, but it's a little bit higher through here, and it's actually, the lines sort of just crossed each other, like
Right.
Pretty close to what.
Okay.
pretty close to what
Right.
they were.
So the applicant spent a significant amount of money the last time doing some of the peer review on this. I don't know that we have to go maybe for an extensive peer review on this, given the fact that really much hasn't changed. The self-storage, does that roof run off into the subsurface drainage?
Yes, we have one roof runoff.
So this catches all the runoff from the roofs, all impervious surfaces, so,
Yes.
okay.
The only roof it doesn't catch is the barn, but the rest of it is mitigated here.
Well, the barn's existing, right?
The barn is proposed.
It is.
This is a proposed barn in the back.
Okay.
But, it's a small building, and that's the only roof area that doesn't get into the system.
Where does that go?
Just goes out to the back into the existing wetland system that drains out to the Kachata.
Yeah, we don't normally allow discharge straight out into a wetland without some kind of, without some kind of drainage system first. We just, I mean, that's, we didn't wanna see that the increase. Is there a chance you can propose an off-site subsurface drainage for that, I mean, an on-site subsurface drainage just for that building?
We can try to take it out to the front, but this system mitigates the whole project
Yeah, I'm just wondering why you didn't put that in there, it's impervious surface, so I'm just wondering why it didn't make it in there.
It's on the backside. No particular reason, it's just this over mitigates the project.
Can it go in there without putting it over the limits, or?
Yeah, that could go in there.
Okay.
Well, for a roof that size though, wouldn't just the subsurface infiltrators work?
Yeah, well, I'm just asking why he didn't put them in there, that's the only roof that's not connected. I mean, it's close to the wetland, I mean, it's considered clean runoff, but
Yeah.
that's a lot of discharge during a 2-inch rain event,
No, is that area presently paved back there? Or-
The pavement occurs up in here by the bowling alley, there's nothing paved back
Oh.
in here.
So where does the pavement end, Fred, is it by that building, is it in front of that building? Looks like there's
Yeah,
an area
the
that's.
proposed pavement ends right here.
Okay, yeah.
How big is the discharge?
Discharge is a 24-inch drain, this pipe here. If that's the question you're asking.
Yeah.
From that. And you wouldn't happen to have an existing plan for this, right, of what we were looking at before, did you bring that?
No, I didn't bring that. No.
I'm just
It's
wondering,
exactly the same bill except for this building.
yeah, so, well, my
We had
question
parking-
would
we
be,
had parking back here.
yeah, my question would be the impervious surface runoff, I recall that the retail village, I know it had a certain amount, but did you increase that size?
We decreased the amount of impervious,
You decreased?
decreased it, yeah. I can go back to this on the plan. We had parking where these two green
Yeah,
rectangles are, we had two parking lots. So this is all green now, it was paved
oh, I see,
before.
okay.
And we had pavement back in here for a parking lot. So
Mhm.
this area didn't change much, but this turned from impervious to pervious
Right.
surface. So this plan proposes more landscaping than the
Is
prior.
this going back to the planning board?
We've been to the planning board,
Yeah.
yes. That hearing's closed and we're in the process of,
Did you have the stormwater reviewed under their, under that hearing?
they did not review it particularly, we went over the stormwater with them, but
Yeah.
similar to what you just said, they had gone over it
Yeah,
for a long time now, so they were satisfied with what we're doing.
right. So I guess the big question with the board is, do we wanna have a consultant look at this again?
How many times?
Well, I mean, my thing is, right, they've kind of beat it to death, you know, as far as approvals and everything else. Fred, question for you, that culvert, I know you completed it. Did we issue a certificate of compliance for that?
I don't think we've, I know Ken Thompson did,
Yeah.
the 5-year
Yeah.
monitoring report, the wetland construction was done, all that stuff, was, reviewed by Ken, he wrote reports to, I'm sure you have them, but they had to be submitted to the Army Corps of Engineers as well, so I
Right.
think all that work is done and accepted. I don't know that we came for a certificate of compliance, do you recall? Like, I don't think so. We can check that, Bill.
Yeah, that'd be
That's already been installed?
Yeah, but it came through and in like in 2008 or 2009, I think that you came through and you did that portion of it. Well, actually, no, I'm sorry. In 2008, nothing happened. There was a Permit Extension Act. I think you continued it right up to 2012. I think that's when you did the work and you were gonna run out of your 5-year permit on your Army Corps of Engineers, if I recall.
We completed compliance period.
Yeah,
with
yeah,
the
yeah,
Army
so you
Corps.
did the 5-year thing, and I think, but I was just wondering if we wrap that up with a certificate.
I'll look into that.
Yeah,
Ken
okay.
might have filed something, but I don't recall.
Okay,
Yeah, this was installed, Frank, to answer your question. The wetland filling was done here, so that the footprint is there for the road to be built, which we're proposing to extend the road down to a point under this, notice of intent to get it in.
I wish-
So Ken was the consultant on this?
Yeah.
So I think, did Sean Hardy review the stormwater? Who was the reviewer on the stormwater the first time?
Car Research Laboratories,
Yeah,
Dr. Shen Wang,
Okay.
Dr. Wang,
Dr. Wang did all the review on this.
he reviewed everything, he did the
Yeah.
test pits with us, all the soil classifications, groundwater.
Did you retest the ground over there?
We
To
haven't
see if the high
retested,
water,
no.
yeah, you haven't,
No, it's, nothing's changed, so,
right.
we
How
haven't.
long ago was the first permit?
About 2005, I'd say, roughly.
Yeah, it was, way back, it was 2004 when it started, the notice of intent, it went almost a whole year, so.
Yeah, about 2005.
Yeah.
And we got a few extensions in the permit extension.
Right.
Some of the work was done as.
Yeah. Has DEP commented on this yet?
DEP provided comments. The only comment was related to the vernal pools that are located well behind this
Yeah.
area.
Right.
I did speak with the analyst at DEP. There was a comment about we're proposing the tree plantings that Fred spoke about. We're proposing those over in this area.
Yep.
And some of the saplings are being planted in bordering land subject to flooding.
Mhm.
But this area is essentially a little agricultural field and a meadow. So we're basically putting some saplings in those areas to move the succession forward a little bit in those areas. So improve the habitat. And her only concern about that was just taking the soil out so we're not filling.
Mhm.
So that's in the narrative that any soil that's excavated when we plant those will be removed. And the only other comment was about the fact that we didn't provide a certified abutters list with the filing,
Mhm.
but this town,
Okay.
has its own process for
Mhm,
that, and we
sure.
followed the process and got that to DEP, so they
Okay.
should file number.
All right. So we have a file number. Did this, Are you in a habitat area at all? Any portion of this property is not
Well-
a natural heritage?
No, this
Habitat
area
area.
is not mapped. There's certified vernal pools, there's actually a map in the report.
But none of this?
Nothing up on the front end.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no mapped areas, it's just a whole series.
Do I have that? Or-
It's in the notice of intent filing, and I have the whole document.
I'll just see that.
We just have that series of vernal pools
Yeah.
here, way out back, and the rest of them I think are out further out
Yeah.
back. I know that this is one of them that's labeled,
Yep.
and we're far enough away from those where it's not an issue.
Do you have any tree mitigation under the local bylaw?
Yes, we do.
Okay,
We're proposing tree removal in about 9,200 square feet over here.
okay,
Since the filing was done a number of years ago, several of the trees grew up and became greater than 5 inches, particularly along the fence line in here. So we're proposing a 9,500 square foot area here with 42, I think it's 6 to 8 foot saplings. Yeah, 6 to 8 foot high saplings, 15 feet on center, 5 different species: white pine, red oak, black cherry, red maple, and eastern cottonwood. So we can put a couple of the species closer to the wetland and the more upland species further away.
yeah,
We don't have a plan that shows their exact location, but the narrative talks about the wetland scientists supervising the placement of the materials.
okay.
So they're in appropriate
So
areas.
you have an accurate count on this? An accurate tree count of what you're taking down and what you're putting back? or-
We don't have a tree count, we basically provided a spacing, 15 feet on center over the basically we have 9,250 square feet over here and 9,500 over there.
Mhm.
And we figure the average spacing between the trees. So it's actually about twice as intense a planting as was originally proposed
Okay,
for this area.
all right. And do we have that, do we have a planting plan on this plan?
It's in
Or is
the
it-
submittal package.
But it's not located like on the map?
No.
It's just on this,
It's on the narrative?
it's in the narrative, it's a
Okay.
figure.
All right,
It's the last page before we get to the stormwater report.
all right.
I think, so the treatment area, the water treatment area is less than what it was because of, you're not doing the parking lot and the additional building?
Yeah, it's a little smaller than it was before. It was sized based on what we need
Yeah.
for this project, yes.
Yeah.
It's a little bit smaller.
Who did the design on that?
Our office at HW Board.
Okay.
So that water drainage is all gonna be separate from whatever might go on in the future?
That's correct. It's an independent system.
I think where it's changed, we should probably just have Sean check it just to make sure.
Just compare the two plans and.
Yeah,
If it was the same, I would say we probably wouldn't need another set of eyes on it, but where it has changed, would need, you know,
I agree
Yeah.
with you, have a look at it, compare the two plans and either assure us that the changes aren't important or flag anything
Yeah.
he might want us to look.
and the same
more
thing with
closely
Ken.
at.
I think Ken should, probably take a look at it again and,
But right now, I don't think, it probably doesn't warrant going out in the field unless they flag something that they think is a problem, right?
yeah.
yeah, because of the scope of the project, we normally just have consultants just give it a breeze over. I mean, if you've done your homework and all the calculations are correct, you know, you may get 1 or 2 comments back, but it won't be what you went through the first time with this, which was, I was sitting on the board at that time, and I know it was daunting, it was troublesome. So I don't see nearly that kind of extensive work. I mean, you've already laid the groundwork for all this anyway, so that was my whole point in the beginning.
Whatever it takes.
Yeah, okay.
Are we moving horse stables there or are we building new horse stables?
This is new.
We're hoping to bring in some horses in here.
Yes, exactly.
Someone who had 3 horses over the years, I look forward to that.
That's the existing bowling alley. Union Street here. They're not two driveways there. Very similar to what these corners are exactly the same. Just a little bit different.
Where is the road gonna discontinue? Is it gonna be at the line of the project?
Yeah, right about here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nothing's paved out there right now, right?
Yeah, we're not paving all the way out here too, just sort of building it out
Yeah.
and, so that it's there, it could be,
So it's just gonna be base and left alone, or?
gotta put grass on it or something.
Okay, so you're just
Just to
gonna,
get this in,
okay,
there's retaining walls that are needed here to build the road grade up. This, as you come off the back of the bowling alley, it dips down.
so my understanding that the culvert has been built, but the head wall isn't built, is that correct?
All we did, if I may, is
Yeah.
we built up the soil a couple of feet to try to prevent that area from being turned back into wetlands. So we just added 2 feet of fill, which is at a slope where it will retain itself. Now Fred's saying is now we're gonna go up to the finished elevation, so we're gonna install a wall.
Yeah, but I thought we approved the project to do the culvert over there, Mike.
Yeah,
We
plus
did,
the
and we just had the culvert and just an earth berm that goes up a couple
Oh,
of
I
feet.
see, okay, so the
Whereas
culvert's
the
in,
road
that
goes
was my
up.
question, right?
Yeah.
The culvert's in. So the water is going back and forth, it's just that you haven't, yeah, I know what you're saying, you built it up so it wouldn't wash away. Gotcha, okay, so the culvert's in, the head wall's not.
head wall and the retaining wall. So
Yeah,
we just
gotcha,
got- We're gonna
okay.
build up the wall,
Yeah.
build up the roadway,
Okay,
do the rest of the drainage and so
yeah,
forth.
right, okay. How does it look out there now? I mean, we've been getting a pretty good amount of rain, I mean, is it standing water out there, or is it,
I've been out there for a couple of months, so
yeah,
it's been a lot of rain lately. eh?
yeah, we have been, yeah,
How's out today? It's mushy a little bit, not
Right.
bad.
yeah, not too bad,
6 inches over average.
yeah. Mhm. And obviously that detention swale on the other side of that, that's not built, none of that is,
Nothing,
Right.
nothing's been built.
yeah,
no.
okay. All right. So, we'll take a retainer for the consultant fees, probably, what do you think, a couple thousand?
2,000 on each, probably, I would say.
Then just the unused portion will go back, so probably $4,000, and then whatever is left over will. I don't expect this to go round after round, so, you know, I would imagine it'll be fairly quick. Fred, is there a chance you can bring, to the next meeting, if you could bring a copy of what we approved? I know we have it here on record, but,
Oh, yeah, sure.
but if you don't mind, just give us a little comparison of what, you know, what's, you know, what was there and what you're doing now, just
Sure.
so we can see the difference.
Yeah.
I think that'd be interesting for the public.
No problem.
Yeah, I don't have any other questions at this point.
Any other questions? Comments? Any comments or questions from the public? All right, this hearing done.
All right, motion to continue the, public hearing until, November, is it the 28th? Yeah, that's,
28th,
Yeah,
yeah,
yes.
so,
It's a Wednesday.
yeah, so it's on a Wednesday, just so everybody knows here in the public, we had to move our meeting a couple of days because it was in conflict with, something different.
Yeah, Board of Health.
Board of Health, yeah. So, again, we will be, continuing this hearing, until, November 28th at 7:30 PM.
Second motion?
Motion made and seconded, all in favor? 5-0.
Thank you.
Okay.
For the record, Kevin Biden arrived at 7:37. 5 members on the board.
Right there. don't last, Fred. Come
I
on.
won't. Almost.
Big trouble.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too, take care.
That's perfect.
Good night.
Yeah.
Right.
Class one, stop and shop, right? Yeah.
Okay, next we have
That's from empty store to be.
Yeah.
a notice of intent hearing on 845 South Franklin Street, Super Petroleum Inc. by Bugazia.
Not just petroleum, super petroleum?
Yeah.
Nice. There's kryptonite in it, or?
Okay, notice. Okay, pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, and the Town of Holbrook Wetlands Protection Bylaw, the Holbrook Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Monday, November 5th, 2018 at 7:30 p.m. in the Holbrook Town Hall, 50 North Franklin Street, Holbrook, Mass, to consider a notice of intent. Description: the proposed project will entail demolishing the existing structures on site and constructing new fuel pumps and canopy, convenience store with a drive-through, and associated parking, utilities, and a stormwater management system for the entire site. The applicant is Super Petroleum Inc., location 845 South Franklin Street, Holbrook, Mass. 02343. Assessors map 52, lot 062, lot 063, lot 064, and lot 076. And that was forwarded to Holbrook Sun for publication on 26th of October. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, members of the commission, members of the staff, and any concerned parties in the audience. My name is David Mackwell. I'm with Kelly Engineering Group. We prepared the application on behalf of the applicant who is here with me tonight, Mr. Mike Bugazia of Super Petroleum. Again, I'm just going to reiterate, we have just a map here showing you where the locus of the site is a little bit. South Franklin Street, which is Route 37, the intersection of South Street and Linwood Street. The existing store is shown here on this map. What's highlighted here is the 3.77 acre parcel that is comprised of 4 parcel IDs. The yellow line that you see through here is the outside edge of bordering vegetative wetlands or the top of bank associated with an intermittent stream that John Rockwood flagged for us. He's still here. When Mike first came to see us, he wanted to make some upgrades to the store over the past few years. This is also the location, I think, of Settles Glass. It wasn't just a gas station. I think there was a glass store in this half, automobile bays here, gas station here, as you can see from the aerial photo. Also, cars parked in the woods everywhere. Since this photo was taken, and Mike, please correct me if I'm wrong anywhere I go, he's closed the auto repair operation due to, I think, too much nuisance, Mike?
Yep.
Too many phone calls, too many cars everywhere. It wasn't worth it, the headache of managing that just for the income of renting the bays. So we started looking at some things, and we actually came to the planning board last winter just to see how the planning board would feel about a new store. They said they thought that site needed some upgrades. So we went ahead and we had John hang the flags for all the wetlands. We took a look at the planning board, the zoning, the planning board rules and regulations, and also the conservation bylaw. And it took us a little while, but eventually we came up with a design that is shown. We should have some 11 by 17 copies here, but what we've chosen to color here is some of the things that, I don't have a nice pretty picture for all the other landscaping and stuff, but the way that the project is going to work is going to close the wide open curb cut along South Franklin Street completely, have 2 one-ways in that are both existing here, close the rest and have a proper entrance out, which would consist of a right turn lane, a left and a left turn lane, and a one-way in. As we all know, the site is improved right now. It's in a little bit of disrepair. So as part of the redevelopment process, the proposal is to put in about approximately 2,500 square foot store, so a modest sized convenience store with a drive-through. Will hopefully be Dunkin' Donuts or another tenant of that type. that will take a piece of the store, a convenience store, and 5 gasoline pumps under a canopy. What comes with this is a complete redevelopment of the site. That means all the old tanks come out, all the environmental reports get done for the type of use that it is, all new tanks go in, the site's completely scraped, all new pavement, all new drainage, all new O&M plans, everything is brand new, taking away some of the concerns that might be there if we were only doing a little piece of work. Associated with this particular project is an interesting situation that, you know, I don't know if everybody knows that, but we're on state highway here. So we're gonna need to go to Mass DOT for a curb cut permit or change of use permit, they'll make us do something. And in the past 10 years, if anybody is familiar with the DOT, they refuse to accept any drainage at all, ever. So we have put together a drainage system that kind of takes advantage of what we think are really good soils here. All the soils maps show good soils. Mike had some test holes done when he got the property a long time ago that said the soils are beautiful out there. So before we even get to that, we haven't gone to do new soil tests at this time because we're kind of waiting to get your peer review consultant engaged, and we just assume do them all together, make sure we're looking at the same thing. But we have set the site up in the best way that we can to maximize best management practice efficiencies and to get all the bells and whistles that come with a modern stormwater design. So as I had said, the site right now, most of the development is over here. The building's about the same size as it is now. Canopy's probably maybe a little bigger, but it's a little squarer than this one. But when it all shakes out, in order to get the proper maneuvering here, instead of parking cars in the woods, we're gonna have them on pavement. So there's about a 13,000 square foot increase in impervious area here. And knowing what we know about our ultimate curb cut permit that we'll need once we get through with the local permits here, we'll move on to the state to get our curb cut permit. We won't be able to show any drainage connection to the street. So what we've done here is we've collected all the runoff in a couple of places. We have a catch basin in the back, and we've constructed, taking advantage of the grade working down, is a big rain garden here. That's what's shown on this part of the property. Once the rain garden overfills, there'll be lots of plants and things there. It goes back into a subsurface retention system. Similarly, this other blue box here is a retention system that's going to take the canopies and the roof and the piece of water back here that we can't get to the front. This will be a storm scepter water quality device. We'll all go into this recharge system first. Overflow from the rain garden goes into this recharge system. Then anything that can't get accepted into the ground overflows back into the intermittent stream. The way we've set this up in the stormwater report is a significant decrease in total runoff because we have 2 design points. There's a portion of the site that comes back to the intermittent stream now. There's a portion that flows to South Franklin Street. We can't send any to South Franklin Street, so we are actually matching what's currently going to this intermittent stream now by using significant subsurface infiltration and detention basins. So as it is a redevelopment project, we did look at a lot of the things, and we're trying to get everything on here and make everything as best we can. Creating a little bit more green space along the front. I don't think there's any now, but we'll be able to squeeze some in. I know it's not colored up real pretty here, but we've at least got the use separate from the right of way. It's not all one thing anymore. Associated with the project, from door to door, we'll probably get all new, brand new sidewalk along the frontage, brand new curbing, because it's too hodgepodge right now. It's back and forth and all over the place. So from door to door, we're gonna have brand new sidewalk and brand new curbing along the street. And as I had said, this is a redevelopment project. We are looking forward to getting some input from the Conservation Commission themselves as we can navigate the way we can administer the bylaw, and then we'll move on to the planning board and collect some more information and work toward a final plan. Right now, we put our best foot forward in what we think is a good plan that can be approved. Perfectly well knowing we're going to go through peer review with the commission and take any comments from elected or public officials. So with that, I have a couple boards here. I have some things for the for the record, I have small scale, photos of the things used. They're really just colored versions of the plans, but for the open meeting law, these are exactly as the boards that were here. I have all of the green cards, all the white slips. I did an affidavit after I sent the abutters list in, and, all those things were right here. There's only 2 cards that did not come back, and I put a little tag on those. So with that, on behalf of the applicant, we would like to hear from the commission on how to best move forward. We have funded a peer review through the planning board, talking to some of the staff and talking to them. We'd like to double hit, use the same consultant. You just tell them what you want them to do.
Which is,
We don't know yet. I came last fall, I think, Mr. Hardy was at the planning board meeting, does most of the peer review.
so that's who we normally use too, so.
Yep, doesn't matter to us at all.
All right. He hasn't seen this project yet?
Well, he may have through the planning board file, and maybe they sent it over, but I don't know if that's happened yet, so.
And how recently did you go to the planning board?
I think we went last winter.
Really?
Yeah.
And it hasn't moved?
We took a little while at our office to figure out how to best push it forward. We had a conceptual plan at the time, and then,
Okay.
it went away for a little while, and then we decided that we should really move it,
Okay.
Mike, reminded us that we needed to move it forward for him.
How deep is that, rain garden, from the surface elevation of the parking lot?
30 inches, from the elevation of the parking lot,
Yeah,
1 foot.
so it's only a 1-foot swale? It's
Yeah.
only 1 foot deep?
Yeah. So you need to have, just the 3-4 inches of freeboard. So
Yeah.
the overflow, once it fills up, it was a 2-part answer. The top of it is about 1 foot down, and the soil is about 30 inches down.
I think I find this unusual because normally all the runoff goes into the storm scepters and then any overflow from the storm scepters will go into a rain garden to be purified. So this is a little bit different.
Well, we're kind of topographically challenged here. The site drops, I think it's like 8 feet from one side to the other.
Was it that much?
Yes.
Wow,
It's 10 feet. From here to here, it drops 10 feet.
Yeah.
wow.
So we're kind of vertically challenged to get our collection and get things to work. So we kind of chose an approach that we think is a good approach. We're open to anything, but we're trying to get an LID BMP, because every time we don't put one on, we're told we gotta put one on.
Right.
So we're starting with one here. We're getting as much as we can to the LID BMP. It's not our only or primary treatment. We have a good treatment train here. And, in our opinion, we're at new development standards for the stormwater system.
Now, do you have anything?
But it's a
on-
great question.
Yeah.
Usually we would like to do that.
Well, that's normally what we see.
But we don't,
I'm just-
once
think I've ever-
we pick it up, we lose 2.5 feet right away at a minimum, or 27 inches is the minimum that we lose, and
Right.
all of a sudden, we're under everything. So we're taking advantage of using this, having it fill up, and then the overflow comes back.
Right.
So we're actually taking advantage of the bottom of this, which is a foot below the parking lot, plus 6 inches, then we can get it back here.
I'm familiar with the site and I'm just kind of.
You're shocked like I am that it drops 10 feet from here to
That's
here?
the first thing, yeah.
Me too.
Yeah. The second thing is,
Try getting it 2% from
well,
here to here.
I guess I'm concerned about, how you're gonna actually guide that water into that one spot where,
So we don't have one spot, is what we have is from here to here is a P-stone diaphragm check dam, and what we really want to do, and it might not be detailed out that well because we do have some experience with this, it looks like a lot, but it's actually kind of a small site, but nonetheless, is we want to have some riprap come right to the bottom in a few locations. We have the P-stone for all the low flow storms that come in there. Once it starts to build up, backs up just a little bit, finds a big trough where we have some bona fide riprap that's a little bit lower, and it gets down to the bottom without washing away the mulch, without washing away the pea-stone, without washing away a lot of the things. Some of the things that we found doing some of these, taking the DEP guidelines directly, pea-stone washes away.
so this is a BMP, this is a best management practice?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
What about the sediment? I mean, there's a lot of suspended solids
So-
that are,
So, yep, so what we have right in here, again, is that pea-stone diaphragm that gets replaced every few years. We're open to looking at anything else as well. What we've done in some of these rain gardens before is, we have the parking lot, we have a spot, we pick one spot we want it to come down, because the guidelines want you to spread it all out, get it all in there slowly. We take one spot and then we put a concrete shelf at the bottom with just a little bowl in there. That collects all the sand, you go and shovel it out.
It just seems to me like that seems to be more maintenance than it would be to just have a hood sump. And, you know, I just,
It's, those are great comments, very practical.
yeah, I mean, I
We
just,
we appreciate them being read into the public.
I'm trying to wrap my head around this, and it just makes no sense, you know?
Mhm.
Put sediment in the water before it goes in the storm scepter?
So is there any treatment on the pad? Is there any collection on the pad?
No. The collection that's under the pad is gonna be code compliant grooves for the use of the gas pumps.
Yeah, that's the.
So that's all covered, and that would not go to the drainage system. I don't know, I'm not overly familiar, but I think there's just grooves in there to hold a certain volume just in case
So
something
it,
happens.
yeah, it evaporates, those are evaporation channels,
Yeah,
and they actually, all they do is hold the fuel until it goes in the air.
Evaporates, yeah.
Right.
Okay.
but what we have done here is we graded it such that it would work and it's not just gonna go away. As I had said, the average, it's a big slope, but we kept it under 2% under here. For multiple reasons, you got ADA, people getting out of their cars, and then also, if you've got a gasoline containment in the grooves, it can't just go straight down there. So, I mean, you know, in my mental note, I'm taking the comment about, the rain garden. Sounds great, but maybe this isn't the best spot for it. If we could get a better BMP that will capture the sediments and make them easier to clean out, whether we can incorporate that and still have a rain garden, and we can do that.
I mean, on a site like this, I'm a fan, just personally, I'm a fan of the old dirty method of just putting the water in there, let it drain into the ground, and any overflow goes into a rain garden and disperses into the intermittent stream. I just don't see how this works out. It's almost the opposite. It cleans the water before it goes into the storm scepter, right?
Yeah.
So the way the rain gardens work is well, the way it's supposed to work, and it's supposed to be what we're supposed to do first, but regardless, is it's got a bed of mulch with a lot of plants, and then there's 30 inches at least of media, which I mean is an organic blended soil. So as that water drips through the soil, it A, feeds all the plants that are there, and then B, has a settling time to get down through. Most of them are under drained if they're not on great soils. This one may or may not have to be. We do that during construction. If we've got nice gravel, we don't under drain it.
Right.
If it doesn't, we under drain it, because we also found out if it's not under drained and you're on poor soil, you kill all the plants because they're sitting in too much water.
I mean, you know what happens with these things, right? They don't operate as intended. You know, first thing that happens is the parking lots get salted and sanded way beyond anything it needs. And then it doesn't get maintained properly, and then in 4 or 5 years, you know, I mean, look at Burger King. Burger King is a mess over there. It floods every single time. And the tolerances was similar to this. Now, they have a big detention area in back, but it never gets maintained properly. And it just seems to be problematic from, you know.
Those are great observations as well. We've had varying success, but we've had some really good success with the plant life and the overall landscaping life and what the place looks like. It seems to function because everything grows well. We have had some problems with getting the water into the swale, because usually we have a little bit more than a foot we're trying to make up, and it just takes everything with it, no matter what we do. So we have experienced some of that. One way we like to get ahead of it is we put actually a depressed curb. Even though there's no curb there, we still put a curb in to hold that pea stone in place, so it can't just wash down the full thing.
Right.
And that pea stone is supposed to be the primary filter, vegetation filter strip, and or pea stone diaphragm.
Do you have snow storage on the site plan?
We haven't shown snow storage yet, I don't think, but we may have. That's another great question, but it's been a month.
Yeah, because you know what I'm concerned about, the first thing that happens is this, the
Yeah.
plow guy pushes right into that, and now it's not working. Especially during a 2-inch snow melt, when we get 1.5 inches of rain, you know, after 2 feet of snow.
Yep.
And now we've got people screaming because their cellars have water, and everybody in the vicinity is blaming you for water in their cellar. That's been happening for 30 years. So, you know, these are the things that I'm looking at down the road. And I'm not trying to be cute about it, I'm just trying to be practical.
I think that, those are all legitimate concerns, and we'd like to take note of them and get back to you on the best thing that we can do to keep it moving forward,
Yeah, I think,
you know?
honestly, I think we would probably look to our consultants a little bit more for what their take is on this, and just to see, you know,
Yeah.
what they think about it.
As I said, we're trying to meet the guidelines, do all the things we're supposed to do. This was a start from what I'm hearing. We're a little pinched for space as well, so maybe we'd be better off with a small landscape mound in this portion and a place to collect the snow, and a place to haul it away or designate somewhere else to store it.
I'm sorry, the new bank that's there on the left side, is that close? Is that an abutting property?
It's right here.
That
So
is okay.
they have, I think, a couple of bioswale over here, they have a bioswale over here, and they actually rerouted that intermittent stream here.
Right, that's my question, yeah.
Yeah, they rerouted, well, I don't know exactly what they did, but I looked at the plans. They picked, the swale used to go this way, and I think the town must cross
Yep,
the
yeah, we
road.
allowed them to
They-
move it, yep,
the town allowed you to cross their road after they put their road across your property.
yeah.
It's
Right,
nice how that works,
yeah,
right?
yeah, of course,
First they put,
yeah,
they were able to reroute this one and it goes over that way.
Yeah.
But I took a drive through there and noticed they had some rain gardens as well in this
yeah,
site.
okay.
I perfectly hear loud and clear, this might be a little bit more intensive a use. Maybe the rain gardens won't work as good on this site as they do on the bank site,
Yeah,
so.
right, right.
Now, so the storage that you have, what you're saying is you can't store enough there before? So you couldn't do it the opposite way and put it into your storage, then have it go into the rain garden,
No.
then have it go into the,
The rain garden would be then it would be too deep. It would be under the brook.
oh,
So it's a slope that's causing you to,
It's the slope and we have to work with this, we've got our curb cut here we have to
Right.
work with, we've got all these.
but that's the reason for your design, is the slope of the lot, right?
The slope of the lot and the point we're coming in and the match point from here to here. So it's very hard when we gotta get from here to here to force any low points up here to do anything different because we gotta keep going. Cause we're never gonna get back to here where the curb cut is.
Right.
So that's one of the reasons. I mean, there could be alternate designs that instead of having, this swale, we have a storm scepter or some other device and we just have that as our treatment device. That'll get us more than 44% TSS removal. And then we can use a recharge BMP and still overflow to the brook and we do something different in here.
That's what I would picture,
Yeah.
I mean, for a project like this, only because, gas stations and convenience stores and, I mean, the amount of impact from vehicles is much higher than it would be from the, the nice little bank that gets 3 customers an hour, I mean, I can see that this place is gonna be busy because, there's just, I live around the corner, so I'll be there.
All right.
But,
We'd love to hear
yeah.
Right, Mike?
But aside from that, I just know that this doesn't look like something that's, that it's not gonna give trouble to the building owner 3 or 4 years down the road,
Sure.
And maintenance plans, we order them all the time, they get recorded at the registry of deeds, and then they never ever get done, so a minimum amount of maintenance, I think, is probably gonna be, is probably gonna be key here, and usually, it's mostly limited to a hood sump or, a catch basin,
Yep.
So, that's fine, we'll let the
Well,
consultants.
listen, that's great input, and when we do engage the peer review consultant, that's the first thing that we're gonna
Yeah,
tell him, is
right.
that's what we talked about here, so.
Yep.
We
Yeah, I
won't,
mean,
we won't have him waste his time counting the plants here to make sure it's all
Well,
compliant.
yeah, I mean, like I say, I just, for a convenience store gas station, it's a high impact, I mean,
Yep.
this guy's gonna wanna clear the snow out of there, and you know what I mean? You don't want it slippery, you don't want people, sliding out into Route 37, so I can see that there's gonna be probably a little bit more sand. Small parking lots are tough to get an even amount of sand, even when you got a guy that's meticulous, it's still, spreaders don't do that good of a job, and they do spread probably more suspended solids at, than what you need, so.
Okay, well, that's great input, I really appreciate it.
so I just have a question. Why is the storage tanks, why would they not be able to overflow into the rain garden? If you
Because
did
the
it the
sur-
opposite? If you did it, if you went into
Because
the,
this would be so low. It would be, you're flipping it upside down, so if these were to drain into here,
yeah,
we could have some sort of settlement area over here.
yeah,
But I would have to, because I've gotta be, 2-3 feet underground to get a pipe under the parking lot,
yeah,
I'm automatically lower here, so in my lowest grade. Well, we could look at it doing something over here behind a retaining wall to keep it up higher, but we can get it lower, but in this side, I'll give you a sense of relativity here. My curb cut is only 2 feet higher than the top of the bank of the stream. So I've gotta
So
go
that
down a
can
little
cross.
bit to get into this.
Yeah.
If I take water from here and I'm putting a pipe into it, my pipe's at least 2 feet down, so I'm -3 feet right away instead of -1.
So it'd have to
From
be
the
a lot
grade, it
deeper.
would be deeper, and
Yeah.
we wouldn't have any room to build it, and we would run out of space.
Yeah, because it would be more of a pit than anything else, right?
Yeah, 3-to-1 slopes,
Yeah,
boom, boom,
right,
boom, you
okay.
close in on
I
yourself,
gotcha.
you lose all the volume, and it's too low.
Plus two, it's only capturing the surface runoff, it's not catching the roof runoff.
It's not, we're capturing
So all
the
the
roof
roof runoff's going into that smaller one. Yeah.
to this one, which is a little bit bigger, a little
Yeah,
higher.
I mean, I get why you designed it that
Yeah.
way, you know.
This is, lower profile chambers, spread it out more and get more detention.
But like a trench drain wouldn't make sense there? I mean, obviously DEP wants it to be filtered first and, you know what I mean, it's all fine and well. But that wouldn't make more sense, no?
We can use a proprietary water quality device, we spec them all the time, and we can get those rated, we can get that rated right up to 80% TSS removal.
Yeah, because really essentially, I think what the Conservation Commission wants, and I'll only speak for myself, but is ease of use and the least amount of maintenance, you know? I mean, if you have to change out all the soils and the plants in this thing every 4 years.
Yep.
I don't see it happening, you know?
Right.
I know the owner probably has good intention, he's got a business to run, he's not thinking, oh, 6 years down the road now, we've got flooding problems, and what do you mean I gotta rebuild that garden? I mean, I'm not saying anything personally, I'm just saying that's been our experience with business owners, is that it's not something that you practice. Now, cleaning out a hood sump, you call in a company every 6 months, they do it, it's the end of the day, boom, one and done. You know, we're not worried about it. This, I would be concerned that, it would be, I mean, we couldn't get Burger King to even clean out their detention area. It's so overgrown with trees, it doesn't even hold water anymore, it's all pushed out. That's why the parking lot floods. I'm sure that there's broken pipes down there, and it's a big problem. So we're looking for maintenance rather than, I think it would take precedence over the fact that you're getting a better water quality. I think, that's just how I feel,
I think it's great, I think it's great input and probably appropriate, based on the type of use that we're going to put here. Other parking lots have, like I said, have flourished well. As far as you go to the DEP guideline, they tell you have to replace it. I think,
Yeah.
have you ever been to Target in Hanover?
Not Hanover, no.
Target in Hanover has a couple of these big bioswales.
Yeah.
And they're in over 10 years now.
Right.
And they look, those are the ones that we put it on Glacial Till and we didn't put the under drain in. So first they killed all the
Yeah,
plants.
right. Didn't drink
Lesson
right
number
either.
one,
Yeah,
put the
sure.
under drain in unless
Yeah.
you're on sand.
Right, yeah, exactly, right.
But
Okay.
after a while, and when we got the throats in right, to not float the mulch away all the time, if you take a look at some of them, they look great. We've done some
Right.
other ones at some other biotech campuses and things, and
Right.
as you say, a lot of it's the vertical separation.
Yeah.
If it's too far down in the hole, the water's just gotta travel too much elevation, and it takes everything with it.
Right,
If it's nice and high, and there's not a huge watershed, and you can get it down into it and let it spread out, they seem to work nice. But, to your comment about the amount of salt, sand, the only thing that we've ever done in one of these bioswales is give it to one point, and we put a concrete shelf in, easy to come down and scoop it all out.
yep.
But as you say, we've got a gas station here, water quality device, I think we can get them as low as 27-inch profile, which isn't too bad to get back into this, we could probably make it work.
Yeah.
But it's all a good input.
Well, I
The
mean,
snowplow guys do the same thing, cause you enter on,
Yeah, they'll come.
Winfield Street, he's just gonna drop his blade, run straight through the parking area.
it's gonna go there,
And it's
there's no
dumping it
question.
right into that. Cause snowplow operators, they don't care.
They'll make their money.
Yeah. I'm out of here, I'll go to the next place, you know?
Yeah, we're gonna want some kind of barriers or signage or something too, because, I mean, you're not gonna be able to push it all over there, you know?
Yeah, but
Yep.
they're not gonna read the signs.
No, they're not.
It's just a waste of a sign.
Well, I'm
Okay.
thinking barriers more than anything. Bollards.
That'll stop them.
We can always
I've
meet
seen
the,
bollards.
Yeah.
Now, do you have any area behind the building that you could, create some storage?
We could. We could come back over in here and create some snow storage. But generally, you know, Mike, I don't know what you usually do on most of your sites. A lot of the sites, they have a little bit extra room here and there. I mean, there's plenty of room to just store a bunch of snow over in here. You know, down along all the tailings, they fill all those in first. And then they probably haul it away, or we could create somewhere out in the back.
Yeah, I mean, at least for the, you know, I mean, it doesn't have to store like 6 feet of snow over 10 weeks, but, you know, I mean, initially, you get 1 foot of snow, it's not that bad, it melts 6 inches by the next day, but then it becomes an issue after, you know, if we get succession of snowstorms, obviously, you're gonna have to remove the snow if it becomes an issue, but we're more concerned about that first one, you know, that first 1 foot of sweep that the plow driver's gonna come through, you know.
Okay. Well, that's all
I think
great.
if you had you know, an alternate area other than the, rain garden, it would be more attractive than, you know, than not having.
Yeah, I mean, the drive-through in back there is gonna be tight. It's gonna really be tight. Do you know how many feet you have from the building to the
I think we
retaining wall?
have,
Is that a retaining wall?
yeah, we put a retaining wall right from starting right here all the way around.
Yeah, 14, 15 feet. It's 12 foot from the,
Yeah, it's gonna be a 12-foot drive, it's gonna be like 14 feet.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so maybe off the back there, maybe a small area for snow storage with,
Yeah,
you know.
right over in here.
Yeah, and it should have a impervious surface with a drain.
Okay.
You know, and should go directly into that area, you know, that drainage area,
Mhm.
so. Just, only because, I mean, we just see these problems all
Sure,
the time,
no problem.
you know,
It's all great, it's
They-
all
yeah,
good, it's
they're
all,
they always are there, so.
that's all good input. So,
Yeah.
back to some of the other things that we're looking at here. So, the orange line that you see, that's the edge of the wetlands.
Yeah.
This is 50 foot,
Yeah.
this is 100 foot, our jurisdictional area.
Okay, yeah.
So we saw I overheard some of the other conversations and I just assumed get ahead of it rather than get behind it. We can see this aerial photo here is our tree line, you know, kind of comes around like this. So where we're proposing to clear trees, although no, it's not really a dense, thick forest, there's a lot of overgrowth and invasives and everything else. But we are planning to remove trees in here. So from here to here isn't quite 100 feet,
Yeah,
but it's 80 or so. But at the same time, I did read the regulation that says no more than 50% of the trees can be cleared within any 100-foot linear section. I wanted to talk to the commission. It's not quite 100 feet where we're taking trees down. How do we quantify the number of trees that we want to take down? Because this is really the best place for our curb cut too. Getting it as far away from this intersection so you get the best sight distance in both directions. You get out of the queue that stacks up here. We brought a traffic traffic expert on board as well because we know it's going to come up and we got to go to DOT as well. So when we start dealing with the planning board, he felt that we already had it set up right. We got it down here. So what we wanted to do, I did overhear your last conversation about how they went about it, but we have some space. What's not shown here is currently, you know, there's a piece of the property that's owned by the neighbor, and there's some cleared areas in the back that we could put some trees in. We could take a walk, and we could have Ecotech make a recommendation. But what I would like to do is just say, how do I kind of quantify this little area that we plan on taking them down so we can be consistent with the policy of replanting. We're planting a lot of trees for the project, as you can see on the plans anyways, but they may not all be in the buffer zone.
well, that's okay, you don't have to, I don't think you have to replant them in the buffer zone, you just have to replace them, whatever the bylaw says. So I would say just read the bylaw and then propose something and let us.
I think all it says is you can't take more than 50%. It doesn't say how to replace them.
Well, no, yeah, you have to mitigate after that 50%, right?
After the
Yeah.
50%?
Yes.
Right. So that's how it works. So 50% of that count the trees in there, if there's a half a dozen that are 6 inches, is it 6 inches or greater in diameter? Five inches or greater in diameter?
Okay.
Yeah, take a count and just figure it out, and then if you have a count that exceeds anything that you're gonna be able to fit back on site, then maybe we've allowed remote planting, right?
I'm pretty familiar with the site, and I don't think you're gonna have a problem replicating.
The number of trees,
the
yeah.
number.
So-
No, they're fair, I mean, they look like it from here, but
Yeah.
they're,
Pretty
I wanna call it, they're kinda sparse,
Yeah, right.
but. you
So
know,
we
that-
just need a count within 100 feet of the, within
Yeah, 'cause
100
right
feet.
away, if you
how many
have 30 trees, we're gonna take half of that off.
Okay.
So it'll only be
And
50.
you're gonna make sure that we plant at least 15.
Well, yeah, I mean, it would,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, we have some, I think we have some leeway there.
Yeah.
You know,
Listen, I just wanna make
Yeah,
sure
they'll
that,
have room to do it, there's areas in the
Yeah,
back
yeah.
there that are,
I mean, you got that strip of landscaping in the front.
yeah, we wanna plant street
Yeah, right,
trees,
exactly.
and we're gonna,
yeah.
our plan right now shows screening trees all along this property
Yeah.
line.
Right,
It shows street trees all down in
There you
here.
go.
There was trees within the rain
Right,
garden, there's,
yep.
you know, we
Yeah, they
have a
don't-
significant amount
yeah, they don't
there.
have to go back in the buffer zone,
Okay.
so, yeah.
So what we'll, I wanted to kinda get my thing square, what I'll do is I'll come to this old row of this gravel,
Yeah,
we'll just count the trees from here over.
that's all.
Yeah, they showed
Well, it's within 100 feet,
24 trees now.
so go to your 100-foot
It comes-
marker,
It comes almost all the way up.
and,
Yeah.
oh, does it?
Yeah,
I think so.
Okay.
yeah, it does.
It's on this one. Yeah, no, not quite, but almost. It comes down to here.
Oh, okay,
But see, the tree line that my surveyors put me is right here.
yep.
And then it actually kinda comes up with the existing one over
Yeah,
here.
so take the count,
Alright.
take half it off, say this is how many I gotta replace. You
Okay.
can take it off your landscape count, you already got a
Yeah,
landscape
well-
count, right?
What we wanna do is make sure that when it comes
Yeah.
to the time to vote, we get, take as little of the commission's time as possible at the
Yeah.
future hearings.
Great. All right, I don't have any other questions or concerns until the consultants look at it, so I'll make a motion that we,
Any other questions?
Did you say 5 pumps?
There's gonna be 5 single pumps, yep.
Single pumps with one hose or two?
No.
One hose on each side, but
So
there's not,
10
yeah, there's
10
not,
fill-up stations.
correct.
Okay.
Not 20 like you see.
are they crosswise going in, or are they lengthwise? In other words, is it
Crosswise.
long?
There's enough
Okay,
room,
so it's a,
room on
all
both
right, so they're
sides.
turning, oh, okay. Similar to Abington, right? Is it similar to the one in Abington?
I don't have one in Abington.
Okay, that's a Super M over there, I thought.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's Abington Gas, that's
But
right.
it's similar
Okay.
to all the newer ones where
Yeah.
when you are parked at the pump,
Yep,
you're facing the building.
gotcha, okay, yep,
Hopefully.
all right.
For the
You
lower-
could be facing the street too, but.
For the lower entrance and exit, is there anything directing that water toward the rain garden there and away from the street, or?
Just the grading, everything is pulled
It
this
flows
way.
that way?
Yeah. But we'll take a look at that and we'll take a look at, it's all good input. What I'm kinda hearing is we'll use a water quality device in lieu of the rain garden, you know, at least in this area.
Yeah.
If we can fit an LID BMP and if we can get the drainage back to it, we'll propose it. If not, maybe we don't have to cut those trees. We'll leave them there.
And you say you've been to planning board already?
We only went to the planning board to see if the project could get off the ground.
Okay.
And they said that, you know, they would entertain it. We need some relief, there's some existing nonconformities here with respect to setbacks. Existing canopies like 2 feet from the road. We can get it to 25 feet back, but we can't get it to 30, which is the front yard setback. So that's, you know, I thought it was gonna be ZBA variance, they told me they can handle that at the planning board. There's some other nuances, you know, we need some findings and.
Yep.
This is a traffic generator, it's on a main
Sure.
road, hits all the bells and whistles for the planning board.
Right.
Now, you got the same business across the street.
Which one?
Which
This
one?
over
Yeah.
here?
Yeah, Jimmy's
Yeah.
he's not close to the same impact this one's gonna have.
Yeah,
He's got traffic over there, but he's only got 4 pumps.
yeah, it's a small,
Yeah, and
Oh, the
he's,
Shell station?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, he's pretty busy over there, so. But
Maybe
this
it'll
is gonna generate a lot.
Alleviate the lines at his
Yeah.
house.
Yes, it certainly
That's a
will.
tough location, you know?
Yeah. That's
So,
right.
that's the project, we know we're in the buffer zone, we know we're kinda coming a
Right.
little bit close, but, you know,
Good.
we're doing the best we can.
Great.
We'd like the board to authorize the peer review guys to get moving on
Okay,
their behalf, and
great. So, obviously there'll be a payment, what do you think we need for this?
I think we've,
Well, I think we need,
we funded like 5 or 7,000 already.
To the planning board?
Yes.
yeah, we will need our own.
Yeah,
If we're using the same, if planning board is gonna have, their reviewer do the stormwater, we can have the same reviewer to
Mhm.
keep your costs down.
Perfect.
But we'll need a wetland biologist to check your line and your, you know, he'll also overlook like any,
yeah,
you know, practice, you know,
the BMP.
BMP for the
Okay.
rain garden and, you know.
Will you have, Mr. Hardy just bring that person on?
No, we will, bring him on ourselves.
Okay.
Yeah, so the fees that they paid to, that they paid to the planning board, we're gonna forego anything for engineering at this point? Are we gonna accept their review from the planning board as our
I
review?
think it would be, yeah, I would
Yeah.
think a letter
Yeah.
from Sean would suffice, as,
Okay,
you know.
so Sean is the planning board's consultant on this project.
Is he, have they reviewed anything on this yet?
I don't know.
No? Okay,
We don't know if he's got the plan.
All I know is we submitted it.
okay.
All right, so, I think for now, we'll take 2,000.
Okay.
And then, I mean, any unused
Yeah.
portion, obviously, it's by the hour and it's
Yep.
fair.
No problem.
If we need more, then we'll let you know. If Mr. Hardy is going to, if he's already been retained by the planning board, we'll talk to him. We'll find out if he's looked at
Sure.
this yet. If not, this maybe we'll get the conversation rolling
Okay.
and then, you know.
So if we get the check down to the staff,
Yep, we'll
Um,
notify our consultant right away.
okay, do you know who you're gonna use?
It's gonna be, Ken Thompson.
Ken Thompson.
Okay, and then if, once the fee is paid, if
He'll
you,
give you a call, you
Okay.
can contact him, meet him out in the field. He'll need just a little bit of time to look at the design first.
Yep.
And then he'll be in contact, usually, he'll work with you directly.
right,
If he's got any major discrepancies, he'll let us know, and he'll say this gotta go back to the drawing board. At that point, we just continue the hearing until you get something that looks satisfactory.
Mhm.
We'll let him know our concerns about the bioswale and.
that's
you
what
know,
I was gonna get at.
Yeah,
I just
I'll
don't
talk
want
to-
to
I'll probably talk
retail,
to him.
review the details if we're gonna
Yeah.
eliminate it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll talk to him about what my
Okay,
concerns are about this.
Great.
I would
That-
say that the board does the board share the same concerns I have?
I think so, I mean,
Yeah.
I would look for an alternate,
Okay.
solution,
All right, okay.
you know.
Sure.
So now you got a temperature gauge on that. Of
Absolutely.
course, Joe is still looking at it, so you're not out of the woods yet, so.
We're looking to build in the spring, right, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
That and the alternate area for,
Yeah, for snow
Snow
storage,
storage.
yeah, that's gonna be a definite want.
Yep, that's
You
why
know.
I got the big ones down
Yeah.
here, is the snow storage, O and M, and the trees,
Yeah,
and the rain garden.
yeah.
That's great.
I mean, it's a good project. I mean, we've been looking at that for a couple of years now, so.
I
You know,
know.
it'll be good to see it get, redeveloped and reused and, I mean, let's face it, we get the benefit of cleaning up the environment, obviously you're gonna, do you know if you have contaminated soils over there, you're gonna go through all that?
I know there was, I think Mike has an environmental consultant, and
Yeah,
we'll,
right.
rather than misspeak for them,
Yeah,
I
right.
think that we would, what we would like to do.
Now, I know that the Conservation Commission has no jurisdiction on tank replacement, but as part of the scope of this project, if it's in the wetland, they still that needs to be part of your filing. So, even if it's not, like, we don't, like, check soils and, any of that other stuff, but if it's within the wetland area, that is part of the project, so. You know,
It's,
Yeah, I mean, once the site
they're
is.
right up in the
the
street.
proposed tanks are out, but the existing ones might be in. The buckets
Yeah,
ones
yeah, yeah,
might be
okay,
in,
alright,
you know.
that's fine.
The
So it should just be in
the
your scope.
canopy's in.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine, it'll be,
Yeah.
should just be in your scope of work, that's all.
Okay.
Because it's a pretty deep excavation, you know what I mean? And we
Mhm.
wanna make sure that the piling of the fill is not occurring on site, that sort of thing, you know? I mean, if you're just grading out and putting in a foundation, it's not a lot of fill, but when you're digging down, 12 or 13 feet because you're pulling 1,000 gallon or 5,000 gallon tank out of the ground, it can be a little bit, it can be a little bit more tricky, so.
Okay,
Alright, so just, we just wanna capture the whole thing, in this one notice of intent, so we're not coming back.
Actually, this is gonna be my nicest station,
Yeah, right.
the way,
Newest.
the newest and the nicest.
Right, good, terrific.
Flagship,
All right, good,
like,
very good.
like Braintree was
Actually, it'd be better.
13 years ago.
So I guess,
So
so,
you need a Dunkin' Donuts on the
Yeah.
other end of town.
I know, that's right, we only got 3.
I'm
We
not
need a
sure,
fourth
Duncan, we're not sure,
What's the third one?
we're not sure who's gonna come,
Yeah, right.
yeah,
Could be Mary Lou's, could be anything.
could be anybody,
Sure.
yeah.
All right,
Okay,
so,
well, if we're done taking your time, we
Yeah, great.
apologize to
get
the next
everybody
people.
out of here.
Thank you
reasonable
very
hour,
much,
so-
thank you.
yeah,
I need a
very good.
motion to-
All right, so motion to continue, the public hearing until, November 28th at 7:30 PM. If you need more time, you can just call and
Yep.
extend it, and Deb will put it on the agenda as continued.
It's a
Okay.
Wednesday.
That's Wednesday?
That is a
Wednesday,
Wednesday.
It's a special meeting for us.
Okay.
Usually it's Monday.
Well,
Okay.
we probably, meet with Ken, make sure the line's good.
Yep.
Get one round with Hardy and Mann. It might take a little bit more time than that, but
Right,
we'll let you know a week before that.
yeah, okay, so the motion's made.
Thank you very much.
Second.
Thanks.
Made and
Thank you
seconded.
very
All in
much.
favor?
Okay.
Five
Thank
nothing.
you.
Thank you.
Oh, there wasn't any comments from the public, was it? I didn't see anybody there. All right, very good, thank you. All right, let's get the damn guys out of here. Let's see what we got. Is this still open? We never closed this?
This one was closed and the NOI was
Was-
issued.
Uh,
I mean, order of conditions was issued, I believe, right?
last we had spoke, I believe you had said that it would at the next hearing, and then we never, I hadn't seen anything. And then this came up that we had some changes based off of the Office of Dam Safety permitting process.
Deb, do you know if we continued this hearing, or did we close it and issue a notice of, an order of conditions?
I think we voted to approve it.
Correct, and we just never got any formal hard copy.
Okay. All right, what did we do this on? Was it a request for determination, or was it a notice of intent?
No, it wasn't.
It was a full, it was a
It was a
full
full notice, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And
Yeah, this one, okay, this one is,
do we have to reopen this as a hearing, or do we
this
just?
is like a new issue. I was reading the state right there. See if someone, and they treat it as a new, what is, a two-step process. First, we gotta look at, see what the new plan is with the revisions. Make a determination, is that revision a major impact that changes the project?
I see.
And we can then just vote to issue an amended order.
Amendment, yeah.
If we think it's a major issue, then they have
Let's
to go
go
back
back
and
out
redo
there.
an NOI,
It has
you
to
know,
be
back to square
notified.
one.
Did you notify abutters on the
Yeah.
first one?
As part of, when we did the
Yeah.
notice of intent submission, yes.
Right, okay.
Yeah,
How many were there? Were there like, was there
Well, you
quite
went
a few?
across the lake.
Yeah, it was quite.
Was it the entire lake?
Yeah, it was,
Really?
I think it was anything within 100 feet. of the
Really?
lake,
Yeah,
yes.
it was kind of crazy.
All right, well, hopefully this isn't too major then.
Yes,
I
and
mean,
the
it's
way,
just a change in the construction, right?
Tree clearing is the biggest.
Okay.
If you want, we can just jump into it. or-
All right, so I guess, do we have to open the hearing, or is it a formal opening?
just take a look here. Yeah, amending a final order of conditions at the discretion of the body that issued the order of conditions.
Okay.
And the way it reads is, we can open it, hear what they got to say, and then we can, we say, hey, it looks okay, we can close it and issue an amended order.
Okay.
If we think it's a major impact, then
Okay.
we have to go back and stop.
I think
So-
abutters still need to be re-notified regardless. I think the only thing that changes is there isn't
If you
a
go to
new
the NOI,
package, basically.
Yeah,
it
okay.
was,
But I think abutters will still need to be re-notified, and I think there has to be.
All right, so I think we can hear what the changes are tonight, and that, we probably won't make a decision on that, just so the people at home can be watching and see, what the changes are, and then I think we probably need to, probably not, decide on it tonight.
So we're gonna look at this as an informal.
I think
Yeah.
so.
yeah,
I think we should. because, I mean, there are guidelines there, so we just, all right, so, this is an informal discussion on, DEP file number 182499, which, the Conservation Commission, issued an order of conditions to rebuild the, dam at, Lake Holbrook. Tonight, we have the applicant here again to propose a change to the construction and the scope of the work. And we're here to determine whether or not that scope of that change of work will trigger off a new notice of intent and a new re-notification to the abutter. So, introduce yourself for the record.
Absolutely. Jeremy Butler and Ziad Carey, and we're with Environmental Partners on behalf of the town of Holbrook.
Okay.
And I guess from there, we can just hop in if that's all right.
Yep, go right ahead, sure.
So, we have a marked up copy with us to jump into first round of changes. Initially, we hadn't had any tree clearing proposed. We just wanted to replace the structures. After speaking with DCR, anything within 20 feet downstream of structures, you have to have all trees cleared. So we have new tree clearing proposed here. Since it's broke out into phases, it doesn't have everything shown on here. This portion right here on a later sheet will be shown. But altogether, that's about 1,600 square feet of tree clearing. And then, Tim, I know when you and I spoke, there was as that guy was mentioning, the 50%.
Right.
I'm not sure exactly how that applies here since it's just the 20 feet, and if it's of the 100-foot buffer, I imagine that's only 20%, but any idea how that should be handled, or do you want to just go over that at the end, I suppose, but.
Well, first, I'd like to see if the town can waive its own, I think we have the authority to waive the requirement for the tree mitigation. Am I correct on that?
Yeah,
we've done that
Okay.
before.
Right, so we can waive it for the purposes of it, because it's a public project, we're probably gonna waive that, because that's a cost onto the town, a cost burden of the town that we can avoid. I think that's probably not gonna be an issue. I think more so would be the issue of, you know, a neighbor waking up one morning and seeing that they no longer have that nice secluded little area near the river where they once had it, and now it looks like a napalm bomb hit it. So
Yeah.
we wanna avoid that. Does your tree mitigation include removing stumps?
We hadn't, well, yes, I guess so. How we normally would propose tree clearing is everything needs to go, so then this would all be loomed and seeded after the trees have been.
Right, so that's quite a bit of disturbance, compared to like just cutting trees for maintenance. So DEP wasn't clear on that?
That was DCR.
Yeah, it was DCR is the one who said, as far as, I guess, if there's a preference from you guys in that realm, then I think we'd be open to discuss it. We'd have to go back to them, but as far, they just want to make sure that roots aren't growing and disrupting the concrete structures, is the bottom line.
I see.
So it's 20 feet from the structure,
Correct.
which isn't, I mean, 20
No,
feet's
it's
not.
not.
Yeah,
it's
that's-
Yeah, you're not,
Because we have the one outlet there, and then,
Yeah,
so,
so you're saying about 1,600 square feet of forested area needs to be basically cut down, stumped out and basically regraded so
Yeah.
that no roots grow into the dam structure itself.
There's no regrading to be done, just cut the trees, remove the stumps, and then just loam and seed it.
Okay.
That's the
All right.
idea.
there's the intent anyway.
Well, I mean, you're ripping out stumps, you're gonna be
Right.
regrading it, trust me.
Yeah.
You know, especially in the area where it's
Do
gonna
you,
be,
do you have any
the soil's gonna
idea
be saturated.
how many
obviously.
trees?
Not exactly. It's pretty dense there during the summer, so it's kind of tough to tell. A lot of it is shrub, not
Yeah.
necessarily trees.
Trees, yeah.
So, but I imagine deeper in there that we're
Yeah.
gonna come across
Okay.
trees
So
here and
just to add one more thing, dam safety, it's just part of their regs, they want the town to go in and clear once a year, so
Yeah.
the vegetation really shouldn't be there in the
Yeah.
first place.
yeah.
So, that's that as far as the tree clearing goes. Everything else is relatively minor in terms of impacts. Here, just to kind of keep showing it, once this area is cleared, that slope will be lined with riprap, just so that during storm events it won't be washed out. In terms of the auxiliary spillway, that's the only change. The additional tree clearing limits that we had discussed, just on that side. And then we have alterations to our primary spillway.
Sorry about that.
So, this initially, we were proposing to basically rebuild what we have there right now, and hydraulically, it was inadequate. So after speaking with DCR a couple times, this is what we kind of ended up coming up with. So it's two 10x10 box structures that'll have a foot of embankment, removable embankment on the front. So before a large storm event, pull those, and then we'll have the hydraulic capacity to not overtop the roadway. Nonetheless, they still want to see that downstream side lined with riprap as well in the event something exceeds the 100-year storm. So we have the riprap shown there as well. One benefit, since we've been that last in here, was in speaking with a couple different precast vendors, we actually had reduced the footings in size. So initially we had planned on going with a 6x2 with a 2x2 pedestal on top of that. We're now at a 2x4 footing along the entire length of the culvert. So as far as dredging impacts go, we went from 120 to, I believe it's 67. It's in the table on the last
Right.
page. So that's that one, and then that's it as far as changes go. It's the tree clearing and then the changes to the approach of the primary spillway.
Yeah,
Did this get posted in the paper at all?
no, it's not required.
Um,
The original part.
Original.
Yeah.
for the original NOI,
Right, okay,
yes.
there was no notification publicly for these changes, right?
Yeah, that's what we
Okay.
came here for, is
Okay.
because if you guys,
Yeah, it's not-
one way or the other, I
This
think
is
we
the
need
informal hearing to decide whether or not we have to have
Right.
Right,
a
okay,
formal
all right.
hearing and announce
No,
that.
that's fine.
It's like a construction change order.
Yeah, yeah,
you know,
right, yeah.
um,
So the only thing we really impactedly, the only thing we need to look at is you already had some tree clearing here?
we hadn't had anything proposed except for there's a strip for the auxiliary spillway,
Yeah.
but that was, it's only a 48-inch pipe, so there's
Mhm.
just one
Yeah.
little alley as opposed to
Right.
that kind of lot area that
Yeah, I
is
see,
proposed to clear.
okay. Alright, you don't have pictures of the area now, do you?
We have a couple. So nothing that really shows too much about that. But so that's, this is looking this way.
Yeah,
So there are some trees that are lining that
I see,
embankment.
yeah,
And then it doesn't have, it's not great, but there, it does look like there's
Yeah.
some smaller trees
okay.
that make up that.
And this is on the pond side or is this on the river side?
This is the pond side, this is the river side looking up.
I see,
So, again,
Yeah.
it doesn't give you much, but
right,
it is a lot of just brush as
Yeah,
opposed
yeah,
to
it's right
actual
to the
trees.
shore,
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So we're not talking about 80, 100-foot trees that have been there for
No.
75 years, right?
Yeah, it's
Because
all
at
scrub.
one point in time, I'm
Yeah.
sure it was cleared, but it just
Yeah.
never
Yeah.
maintained,
Okay,
you
all right.
know.
All
Well,
right.
they've been doing it for the last 2 years, just part of the consent order
Yeah,
though,
right,
that
okay,
DCR came
Alright.
in with.
Yeah.
So I'm of the opinion that this does not trigger off the need for us, a new notification.
Yeah.
It's a minor change in the scope. It's part of the dam project. It really hasn't changed significantly from the original order of conditions. I think that we can issue an addendum to the original order of conditions
Yeah,
rather than change anything. So even doing an amended order, I would say maybe we can look on DEP's website and see if they have an addendum page. See if we can, if not, we'll have to just
because I think,
reproduce.
so what it's saying, like, because we got the changes in writing
Yeah,
that they prepared,
okay,
and I think we attached this to
Okay.
the original order.
yeah,
and-
okay,
And the revised drawings, I guess, become the latest.
okay. So I think if we wait one more meeting on this, and just so if the public is watching and they have any comments they wanna weigh in, I think we'll just safely just wait one more meeting.
Yep.
And we'll vote on it next meeting.
Okay.
And I think, is there any other information we're looking for? I don't think it's something that we,
Yeah, and so I look at it more as a, because it's not that the town changed the whole dam design, it's
can you
DCR,
provide us,
and-
can you provide us with a one paragraph, basically a one paragraph description of the changes from the original.
Yeah,
And
that's,
we'll probably word that in. I know we have 3 pages already.
So
We
you
don't
want
want-
concise?
Yeah, we wanted to just cover the
Simplify.
basics, okay? So we
Yeah.
can add that on.
So basically just the
Yeah.
tree clearing, I mean, as far as the footprint goes.
Yeah, have enough detail that you can fill in the lines there on, if you look at special conditions, you'll see there's about 4 or 5 lines. If you can fill that up with as much information that you can get there that's substantive, and then we'll probably just amend the order conditions, except that 1 page.
Sure.
And that would simplify everybody's life. Sound
Okay.
good? Nice and neat?
Yep.
Okay, so we're gonna just continue this discussion until the next meeting, which is November 28th at 7:30 PM. And we will take a vote on it then. If anybody from home is watching and the public wants to weigh in, certainly provide comments to Debbie, who works in the Conservation Office, with any written comments, and if not, you can come to the next meeting. Okay? So, motion to continue the discussion.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor? 5.
Okay, all right, great, thanks a lot.
Is the plan to do this work in the spring?
So it's,
Morbid curiosity than anything.
funding is a
So-
factor, if you want to
Yeah, the town secured some funding, the state paid for the 3/4 of the design.
Yeah, I know it was up
And I
there.
think we're trying to match the same thing for construction.
Yeah.
So they allocated some money, and I think the idea was to inform cities and towns when the funds are due, or who's getting what. And the idea was to get the notification by the end of last month, so we
Yeah, I
haven't
see.
seen anything.
Yeah, it's the
That's
dam and
normal.
seawall, and after last winter,
Right,
the
yeah.
seawall damage is
Yeah.
kind of the dictator.
Yeah, right, I
Is
get
what
it.
it was described to us
I
anyway.
get it, yeah,
So,
right, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
you
wanna
moved
get
down
this
the
done.
North Shore, so.
But if they do get the funds, hopefully this is a
Yeah.
summer construction.
Great.
2019.
Yeah, call it dam and seawall we have, that's all.
Very good.
You go there with a salt shaker?
And then for that next hearing, should we still be here for that, as far as if there's any
You
additional
can just submit the
questions?
paragraph in writing, I mean, you could show up if there's, if there's gonna be any contest, you might wanna be defended if it's,
Yeah,
But yeah, it would be good if you showed up at the next meeting just to answer any questions.
okay.
If not, we'll try to take it up first so we can get you out of here. We've got we've got something big that's coming up. Are we gonna meet in this room or are we gonna meet in a bigger room?
Yeah, we have to stay here, I think.
Okay, all right. So if we get too many people at that hearing, then I don't know that that's going to be something we end up having to,
This is the TLA project,
yeah.
but it's only an INRAD, so we're not gonna let them get out of control on that one.
Okay, all right, fair
It's
enough.
wetland flagging.
Okay, nope, that's
We'll
fine.
be here all night.
All right, yeah, so we'll see you at the next meeting. And-
Thank you.
Yeah, very good.
Sounds like a plan.
All
Thank
right,
you.
have a great night.
You as well.
Take care.
Eversource.
It's just a
So you ran it by
a vote to extend.
For an extension.
extension. You want a 3-year extension or 5-year extension?
Because they have to, did they fill out an application?
3-year.
Aren't they supposed to fill out an application?
The original is in there.
Oh, okay.
The original is in the signatures, folder to your left, I think. See a folder there for signatures?
Can be no more than 3 years from the expiration date.
Did they just get their permit within the last year?
15,
15.
10/26 of 15.
For the power lines down there? That one. Jesus. Time flies. Okay.
Where is this?
So we want to do anything with that one?
When was that filed? When did they file this?
Not sure, is there a stamp date on there? See?
Oh, 10/2? So they filed before it expired.
Yeah, I think it was over here at the last
Yeah.
meeting.
Okay.
We need to vote or just sign?
I think we need to vote.
Yeah, we vote.
Extend.
Alright, yeah.
So, I move we extend DEP file number 182-0478 for 3 years until 10/26/21.
Second.
that. Okay.
Made and seconded, all in favor? 5-0 again. Okay.
We got a certificate of compliance for 345 South Street.
Yeah, North Lieutenant, we got an as-built.
Yep, I saw that.
We better get a sign that.
For the extension?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it.
You have the original.
Yeah, the original here, we signed up.
Yeah, those are just copies for you guys.
So we have an as-built for 345 South Street.
These are, all these houses have been well established.
Yeah.
There's been no work over there for probably,
Since it was built.
yeah, which is 2008, 2009.
No,
Was it later than that?
76.
Wait, what?
So you're talking about,
345?
345 South Street?
Yeah,
Order of conditions was, 8/19 of 76.
really?
Yeah.
Trying to think of which house this is
It's
then.
a cape, I don't know.
This is,
Oh, I think I know which one this is.
345. It's gotta be after spring somewhere.
That's right, okay, I remember this, there's a little shed in back there, I didn't even know it wasn't on that property, yeah. Okay, yeah, I knew it was wet down there.
Yeah, so we have a existing conditions plan from Collins Engineering.
Mm-hmm.
They delineated the wetland line at the back of the property.
Yeah,
Obviously, there's no construction within
Yeah.
the buffer and
Yeah, and
whatnot, so.
it's pretty forested in back there too, so. And it looks like that's a 50, yeah, okay, so the house is in the buffer zone. Okay, so I mean, the house hasn't done any, they haven't done anything over there for
No.
decades, so. I make a motion to issue a certificate of compliance on an expired order of conditions, DEP file 182043, 345 South Street.
Second motion.
Made and seconded, all in favor? 5-0.
We're done.
And 146.
What's 146 Plymouth?
Yeah, continued.
Continue,
What is that? 146?
Yeah, what is that?
Oh, okay. No, I think I know what that is.
What is it?
That's Mr. Duggan's property.
yeah.
Oh, geez. Oh, we can't talk about it.
We're not talking about that.
Continue on it.
So it's continued.
But don't even say the word continue. That's it. All right, that's continued.
And
We have,
Spring Lane,
what's Old Castle? All right, so,
They were in last meeting, and I think they were coming back,
They're coming back,
28.
yeah, next meeting,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, so they were under control.
Have they submitted a plan?
Seen nothing? Nope.
Well, honestly, at this point, I think, my recommendation to the board would be to file, an enforcement order on the property. They were supposed to have this was supposed to be filed, over a month ago. And they said that at the last meeting, they said that they would have a plan to us by the 15th, so that we could review it.
Frank, we're talking
Was
about.
it November 15th? Let me look at my notes. They were supposed to have a plan for us so that we could have,
Minutes haven't been finished, I'm sorry.
Spring Lane, just remind me, this isn't the Foster Southeastern property, is it?
yes,
Yes.
Old Castle, yep,
Yeah, it's not Spring Lane, it's Spring Street.
yeah.
I don't know why it says Spring Lane, but Spring Lane would have been that property that Kevin Kane was
Yes,
trying to develop down the end there at Kane's Pit.
Oh, yeah.
That's Spring
Okay.
Lane, yeah, so it should, yeah, it should be Spring Street, just correction.
Oh, okay, my mistake. So, They were supposed to be at a November 26th meeting, so you might want to,
October 26th?
Tell 'em-
November 26th.
Okay.
Yeah, tell them through.
Okay.
Well, tell
so
them, tell them they can
so
come to the
28th.
next
Yeah,
meeting.
so they were supposed to be here at the November 26th meeting. I think they said that they would have the plan to us by the 15th, by November 15th.
Okay.
So if we don't see a plan by November, if they're not at the November, well, it's gonna be November 28th meeting now, but
Right.
if we don't have, a plan filed before that meeting, and they don't show up at that meeting, then I suggest that we move forward with enforcement.
So just brief us on that. You did a sidewalk in.
So, yeah, so they have, encroachment all along this edge here.
Right.
So they're coming up with a remediation plan to pull this back to have, you know, almost a road that goes around this looks flat, it's a mountain, I mean,
Really?
we're talking like
So it's all slag, right?
30, 40
Yeah.
feet,
It's all slag from the,
exactly.
yeah, okay.
Yep,
Right,
so
from all the concrete.
they're gonna put a road around it so that anything that washes will collect at there before it goes into the
Yeah, okay,
wetland and whatnot.
alright.
So they're coming up with a good plan, but it seems
Yeah, I
like
remember that was
it's
flat
taken
at one point.
quite a bit of time
Yeah,
to do this, you know?
all right.
So let's hope that they'll make
Okay.
the 28th meeting and we can move forward.
They
with
didn't
that.
clear any more trees out of there, right? This is just the area
Yeah.
that was already flat, that was
Yeah.
already used, and they
Yep.
their storing of the, obviously the byproduct of all the concrete over there is
Very
choke,
tidy.
yeah, it's choking up the wetland, I'm sure.
Yeah, they're at the last meeting, he talking to companies to bring in a crusher, crush it up and either sell it as aggregate to asphalt plants or they're gonna reuse it in their, you know, making of the new bricks or whatnot. So they can't do that until the spring, they don't have any companies that can come right in and do it.
Well, I'll tell you, if DEP gets wind of this, you remember what they did to Graziano, right? Graziano had to pay $250,000 in fines.
Really?
They almost went bankrupt because siltation was running off into the wetland.
Yeah,
This type of siltation. 'cause
this
it-
has been here for
Yeah.
quite a bit of time,
Right,
but they've gotten a little sloppy there, so they need to pull that back.
pull it back and
Yeah.
put up a silt fence and what did you say they're gonna do?
Yeah,
They're
they're
gonna put
a
an
barrier
area.
wall.
They're gonna put a road around it so that the slope will come down and then it'll go flat and then it'll drop off into the wetland. Right now, it's just a 40-foot cliff.
All right,
You know.
okay.
It's,
Yeah,
the nature of it, it's not fines, so
it's not,
it's more coarse than it is fines.
Mm.
You know, so, they had some runoff up in this area,
yeah,
up here.
right,
They did contain that, matter of fact,
I see.
there's the picture right there. So they set up a sock,
Yeah,
all this is pitching down, so there was runoff in there, I guess they went in, they removed the fines that
Yeah.
got in there.
okay,
So that's another part of their project, is to come up with some permanent solution or barrier
mhm,
before the runoff gets into the wetland
Gotcha.
from there, so.
okay,
Yeah, I think it's a Jersey barrier type thing.
yeah. All right,
We have any minutes?
moving on, we have one set of minutes, right?
No.
No? Motion to close the public meeting.
Second motion.
Made and seconded, all in favor?